strength of my will! Take your punishment!
Get back! You can't run!
What does this oppressive aura mean?
I'll show you power! Right here!
Hey, welcome to Attack the Stack. If you like that, try this. Adventures of Mana is an action role-playing game developed by MCF and Square Enix and published by Square Enix. It is a 3D remake of the Game Boy game Final Fantasy Adventure, the first game in the Mana series. The player takes the role of a young hero who, together with a heroine, tries to stop the Dark Lord of Glaive from destroying the Tree of Mana. The gameplay focuses on combat with monsters or other enemies and is seen from a top-down perspective. The player traverses the game world, which is divided into several areas, and makes their way through dungeons. While fighting monster characters, a gauge is shown on the screen filling up over time and resetting when the player gets hit or attacks. By waiting to attack until the gauge is full, the player can use a stronger attack. The player is accompanied by various non-playable characters who each have different skills the player can use and who help them defeat enemies. The idea for the game came from the producer, Masaru Oyamada, who wanted all Mana games to be playable on modern platforms for the series' 25th anniversary. Initially, there was some argument at Square Enix about whether the remake should be done in 2D or 3D. They chose 3D, as it was thought to be easier to control on smartphones and because it could be used as a base for potential future Mana remakes. The game has received positive reviews, with reviewers giving particular praise to the visuals and the music.
You seem to be in possession of the real Mana Sword. This is troubling.
Secret of Mana, originally released in Japan as Seiken Densetsu 2, is an action role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix. It is a remake of the original title, which was the first Seiken Densetsu title to be marketed as part of the Mana series rather than the Final Fantasy series. Set in a high fantasy universe, the game follows three heroes as they attempt to prevent an empire from conquering the world with the power of an ancient flying fortress. Secret of Mana features real-time battles with a power bar mechanic. The game has a ring command menu system which pauses the action and allows the player to make decisions in the middle of battle. A cooperative multiplayer system allows a second or third player to drop in and out of the game at any time. The game features three characters, the hero Randy, the girl Prim, and the sprite Popoy. The player can choose to control each of the characters at any time. Whichever character is currently selected, the other two companions are controlled via artificial intelligence. Located at the bottom of the screen is a power bar, a gauge that determines the amount of damage done to an enemy when attacking. Swinging a weapon causes the gauge to empty and then quickly recharge, allowing that character to attack at full strength. The party wields 8 different types of weaponry. All weapons can be upgraded 8 times, and repeated use of a weapon increases its skill level to a maximum of 8, unlocking a new special attack with each level. Weapons are upgraded with weapon orbs, which are found in dungeons or earned by defeating certain bosses. In order to learn magic, the party must rescue spirits known as elementals. Magic also has skill levels similar to weapons. To this day, the original Secret of Mana is hailed as one of the greatest RPGs of all time.
Remember, the darkness lurks in every heart. Darkness is our foe. Would that we could be rid of it. You must destroy it.
Kingdom Hearts, the story so far, is a collection of 9 Kingdom Hearts games. Kingdom Hearts is a series of action role-playing games developed and published by Square Enix. It is a collaboration between Square Enix and Disney and is under the direction of Tetsuya Nomura. Kingdom Hearts is a crossover between Square Enix and Disney based in a fictional universe. The series centers on the main character Sora and his journey and experiences with various Disney, Square Enix, and Pixar characters. The heroes of the series clash against the multiple incarnations of the primary antagonist, Xehanort, throughout the series. The Kingdom Hearts games contain elements of action role-playing games with hack-and-slash elements as well. The games are driven by linear progression from one story event to the next, usually shown in the form of a cutscene, though there are numerous side quests available that provide bonus benefits to the characters. In most games, the player primarily controls the principal protagonist of the series, Sora. Sora is usually accompanied by Donald Duck and Goofy, who are artificial intelligence-controlled, non-playable characters that aid Sora in battle. The games feature real-time combat that incorporates physical attacks, magic, and summonings, though each game handles battles differently. The games are influenced by their parent franchise, Final Fantasy, and carry its gameplay elements over into their own action-based hack-and-slash system. The series consists of 13 games available for multiple platforms. Most of the games in the series have been positively received and commercially successful.
In one fell swoop, the Lord of Shadows ended countless lives. The lucky few who rode the storm out struggled to survive.
Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age is a role-playing game developed and published by Square Enix in the long-running series. Dragon Quest XI continues the gameplay of previous games in the series, in which players explore worlds and fight against various monsters, including the ability to explore high areas. The Nintendo 3DS version features a different style to the other versions, showcasing 3D graphics on top of the screen and 16-bit styled sprites on the bottom screen. Before entering battle, players can also toggle between the 3D and 2D graphical styles at any time. Awesome. Like with Dragon Quest IX, on land, the game's battle system features no random encounters and shows all enemies on the overworld. The battle system also adds a freeform camera option inspired by the MMORPG Dragon Quest X that allows players to move around the enclosed battlefield, although it is purely visual and provides no other benefits to gameplay. Many critics considered the game to be the best in the series, including me, as well as one of the best contemporary JRPGs overall, also including me. SAGA Scarlet Grace is a role-playing game co-developed by Square Enix and Studio Real. The 12th entry in the SAGA series, the game was published by Square Enix. The story follows 4 protagonists pursuing separate missions across the splintered remains of a dissolved empire. Central to the plot is the Firebringer, a rebellious deity during the empire's height. Gameplay focuses on the protagonists exploring the non-linear world, taking part in turn-based battles where skill growth depends on chosen actions. The game was the series' first original console title since 2002's Unlimited Saga, with development beginning to celebrate the series' 25th anniversary. Returning staff include series creator Akitoshi Kawazu as co-designer and scenario writer, artist Tomomi Kobayashi, and composer Kenji Ito. The team designed several aspects of the game based on the player feedback from Unlimited Saga and incorporated features from both Saga Frontier and the Romancing Saga games. The Western version was localized by 8-4. Reception of the game was generally positive, with critics praising its gameplay and design. Ys Memories of Celceta is an action role-playing game developed by Nihon Falcom. The game was released in North America by Xseed Games. Memories of Celceta is identified by Nihon Falcom as the 4th canonical game in the series. The game follows the usual series protagonist Adol Christin, who begins the game with amnesia, as he explores the forest of Celceta with his companions. Gameplay of Memories of Celceta is similar to other Ys titles, as it is an action role-playing game featuring real-time combat. In addition to a standard attack button, special moves called skills can be utilized by pressing certain button combinations. Throughout most of the game, the main protagonist Adol is accompanied by Durin, but other party members also join at different times. Each member has a specific attack type classified into 3 types: slash, strike, and pierce. Some enemies are weak against a certain type of attack and are resistant to the other 2. Other enemies have no particular weakness, and thus any attack type is effective. A maximum of 3 characters can be used at a time and can be switched on the fly. Each character has a powerful move called an extra move that can only be used when the meter is filled. Furthermore, players can attempt to parry attacks, evade them shortly before the attack lands, or take a defensive stance to reduce damage taken. A successful parry is known as a flash guard and nullifies only the parried hit's damage, earns skill points, and turns any successful ripostes into critical attacks. A successful evasion shortly before they would land is known as a flash move. It makes the party temporarily invincible and slows down the enemy. I think I've said it here before, guys, but I'll say it again. Ys is probably the most underrated action RPG of all time. Check it out. Thank me later. Moving on. Xanadu Next is an action role-playing game developed and published by Nihon Falcom. The game is a spin-off of the 1985 action role-playing game Dragon Slayer 2, Xanadu. A worldwide release of the Microsoft Windows version was published by Xseed Games. The player character is a dishonored knight hired by a scholar named Charlotte L. Wells to investigate the ruins of Harlech Island on her behalf. Almost as soon as he begins, however, he is mortally wounded by a mysterious warrior named Dvorak and must undergo a life-saving process which binds him to Harlech. He will now die if he ever leaves, unless he can find the fabled Dragon Slayer sword, which is the only item capable of severing his ties with Harlech and giving him his life back. Players seek out enemies and then rapidly press the attack button to attack them. Spells can also be cast with varying strengths by holding down the spell button, allowing you to cast more powerful spells, but allow the enemies to close in on you. One unique quality the game has is allowing players to switch between 2 different classes per level using Guardians, very similar to Adventures of Mana. Players are encouraged to play for long periods of time because each group of enemies you clear raises the experience point bonus from the next group by 1%. The longer you play, the more experience you get with each enemy killed. This game is the definition of hidden gem when you're talking about comparisons to Diablo and Zelda and Final Fantasy and the Mana series. Need I say more?
Once upon a time, there was a world torn by endless war, and peace was a distant dream.
Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom is an action role-playing game developed by Level 5 and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. The story follows Evan Pettywhisker Tilgem, a young king who has been usurped from his castle and sets out to build a new kingdom. Outside of quests, players can freely roam the open world where they explore towns, villages, dungeons, and other dangerous places scattered throughout the world. Upon leaving a location, players enter the world map, where the overworld represents a diorama, and players can freely travel to another destination. When players encounter enemies, they enter a battle system. Battles take place on an open battlefield, allowing players to freely roam around the area. During battles, players command a single ally in their party. A party consists of 3 chosen characters, which can be switched between at any time during battle. The other 2 characters that the player does not command fight freely on their own. To fight enemies, players use melee attacks, magical abilities, and higgledies. Higgledies are small creatures which exist in several forms, representing one of 6 elements, each with their own strengths. Players can have up to 4 in a party at one time. In Revenant Kingdom, players have the ability to build and manage Evan's kingdom, focusing on the arrangement of workforces within the town to provide materials and shops, such as for weapons and armor. The game received generally positive critical reception. I know I'm in the minority when I say this, but I actually preferred the combat system in this game as opposed to the original Ni no Kuni.
There are so many more things we could learn. If only our journey would continue.
Tales of Vesperia is a role-playing game developed by Namco Tales Studio. The 10th mainline entry in the Tales series, it was published in North America by Namco Bandai Games. The gameplay is similar to the previous Tales games, featuring a new version of the series' trademark action-based linear motion battle system, while also introducing new elements such as online leaderboards. Vesperia is set in the world of Turca Lumines, which uses an energy source called Blastia for all its needs, including creating protective barriers around its cities. The story focuses on Yuri Lowell, a former Imperial soldier who forms a guild called Brave Vesperia to aid Estelle, a noble woman he encounters on a mission. As they explore the world, Brave Vesperia are challenged by factions who have different plans related to the abuse of Blastia resources, and Yuri is forced to confront his friend and former comrade Flynn. Developed by the same team that made Tales of Symphonia and Tales of the Abyss, the game was developed by the same team that made Tales of Symphonia and Tales of the Abyss. Returning staff included producer Yoshiro Higuchi, composers Motoi Sakuraba and Shinji Tamura, and character designer Kosuke Fujishima. The writers included Takahashi Hasegawa and Hideo Baba. The game received positive reviews. The general consensus is that this is one of the best games in the series, and I would agree. Shining Resonance Refrain is a Japanese role-playing game developed by O2 Inc. and published by SEGA. Originally developed by Media Vision, it is an entry in SEGA's Shining series of video games. The game follows Yuma Ilvern, who holds the spirit of the Shining Dragon, an ancient dragon who died in an ancient war. One of the more interesting features of the game are rune songs. Performing rune songs grants a party special buffs. In order to perform, players need to use a band system. To perform a band session, players need to build the BPM or Battle Performance Manometer on the left side of the screen. The BPM meter increases whenever an attack connects, stacking up to 3 bars. Players choose who will act as the center of the band session. Depending on who's leading the performance, the song's effect may change. Yuma can also transform into a powerful dragon at any point during battle. If he pushes himself too far, he might go berserk. Yuma and the Dragoneers can power up their harmonics in various ways. One of these methods is through tuning. Tunings come in a variety of types. Harmonics can be powered up by placing aspect pieces into the slots of the tuning. The effects of the aspects range from simple stat boosts to high risk, high return trade-offs. The number of slots available varies by tuning. If all of that sounds wild, it's because it is. And that is why I love JRPGs. If you liked the video or it helped you out, click the thumbs up button below. It really helps us out. If you think it could help others, share it. Of course, subscribe for more content like this and more. And if you have anything to add to our list, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching and keep attacking.